Hello and welcome. Uh, a lot of people want to do data analysis. They want to learn tools like R and Python and conduct data analysis for themselves. But one problem that a lot of people face is in writing codes. It is they find it hard to write codes. They make mistakes while writing codes, and they are sometimes they get sometimes get stuck and don't know how to proceed. Uh, but luckily, with ChatGPT, that process has become a lot easier. You can ask ChatGPT to write code for you, and then you will just analyze the outputs and make your decisions. Okay. However, to be able to use ChatGPT for data analysis uh, uh, in R, for example, which I am going to demonstrate here, you must first have some basic understanding of how R works. What is its basic syntax so that you can use the codes generated by ChatGPT. Also, it will help if you have some actual coding experience because ChatGPT will sometimes make mistakes and you will not be able to identify what mistakes those are if you do not know something, at least something about coding in R. Uh, Moreover, you must also have an understanding of the analyses that you want to conduct. I mean, ChatGPT cannot do everything for you. You must have some understanding of how to approach data, and although it will help you a great deal and it will suggest the analysis that you can perform, but you must also have some understanding uh, of how statistics works. If you have this kind of basic understanding, then ChatGPT can help you a lot. For example, in this video, I will show you how you can analyze a data set using ChatGPT. So here I have a data set named house underscore data, and I have opened a ChatGPT uh, window. To work with ChatGPT, you will first have to create an account and log in. And once you have created your account and have logged in, you will see something like this. Okay, now let me ask. I'm not going to give it any details other than are absolutely necessary. For example, I will tell it that I have a data set named what? It is house underscore data in our studio. Please give me a code with which to see what type of data is there in the data set. Okay, now let's see what it does. Okay, now it is telling me that to determine the type of the data in your house underscore data set in RStudio, you can use str function. Here is an example code snippet. Okay, it has given me a code that is str house underscore data. I can simply copy this code from here by clicking this copy code button, and then I can go back to RStudio and paste the same code here. Okay, then I can run this line of code to see what happens. So when I run this code, this has given me the structure of the data. It is telling me that it is a data frame with 100 observation of 5 variable. One variable is named x, which is an integer, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have another column, another variable neighborhood, which is a character variable, and it has values like C, 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 B. Then we have house type, apartment, townhouse, etc. Then we have area, which is a quantitative variable in number format, and price, which is in number format. So, to if I feed this information to ChatGPT, it will know because ChatGPT cannot directly see what is there in your data. So, what I can do is to copy this output from here and feed it to ChatGPT. Okay, so that it knows what is there in my data. Okay, so now based on the output you provided, house data set appears to be data frame in RStudio. It consists of 100 observations of this X is integer, neighborhood, etc. etc. So now it knows the structure of my data. Now I'm going to ask it to create some more codes for me. Okay, I want to see the number of each type of house. Give me a code. Okay. Now this is telling me that to count the number of each type of house in house data set based on house type variable, you can use the table function in R. Okay. Because I had fed it the output from the previous code, it now knows that the house type column is named house type in my data set. And now it is giving me a code to see the number of each type of houses. Okay, I will copy this code from here. I'll go back to our studio and I will write this code here. Okay, a house count variable is created, and then we will print that house count variable to see what is there, and it is telling me that I have 32 apartments, 30 detached houses, and 38 townhouses. So that's fine. You see, uh, I didn't have to write a code. I just asked ChatGPT to write this code for me. Okay, but that's not all. Now I will ask it to create a bar graph for me based on this information. Okay. I want to create a bar chart of this data. Okay. Now it is giving me a bar chart. Okay. Then now it is giving me a code to create a bar chart. But here you will see that house count has already been created, so I can leave that part of the code out, and I will just copy the code for creating a bar chart. I will go back and I will paste it here, and then I will run this code. Okay, now that looks fine to me, and but I want it to be in a different color than it is currently in. So let's say I ask it, I want the the bar color to be red. Okay. Okay, now it has given me a new code, but I don't want to see this part of house. So I tell it house underscore count is already there. Give me the code just for creating the bar chart. Okay. It will now give me the code only for creating bar chart. Okay. I'll copy this code from here. I'll go back and I replace my previous code with this new code. And now when I run this code, you will see that the color has been changed to red. But okay, let's ask it further to make to change the color of each bar and use a different color for each bar. Okay, I will tell it I want to use a different color for each bar. Okay, and it has again given me house underscore count and code, and I will tell it again that house underscore counts is already there. Okay. Now it will give me a code that is specifically for creating the bar chart. I will copy this code from here. I will go back to my RStudio and paste this code and run it. Okay, now it has by using the code given to us by ChatGPT, we have created a bar chart that has different colors for each bar. That's great. Okay, but that's not all. I can ask it to create even more complex analysis. But now, let's ask to let's ask ChatGPT to create a histogram for us based on uh, area price data of houses. Okay, I will go back to ChatGPT and ask it to create that histogram for me. Okay. I want to create a histogram for price of houses. It has given me the code. I will simply copy the code, go back and paste the code in RStudio and run it, and it has created a histogram. Now, if I want to change the colors, I will again ask ChatGPT to change the code for me for creating a different histogram. Okay, I can ask it to even uh, perform more complex analyses. For example, I want to perform correlation analysis and I want to also create a scatter plot. I'm not going into details of what scatter plot and correlation are. I will simply ask it, I want to create a scatter plot of house area and price. I also want to see the correlation between two variables, between these two variables, between these two variables. Okay, now let's see what sort of code it gives us. So it has given us this code. Let's see if it works. I will copy the code, I will go back to RStudio, paste the code, and see what happens. Okay, now I will first run the plot code and it has created a scatter plot for me, and I can already see a trend between there. The price seems to be highly correlated to area. Okay, but to uh, see the correlation value, I will run the next line of code, and correlation between area and price is 0.6277, so on. Okay, I get asked ChatGPT to even create machine learning models for me. I will ask it to create codes, to give me codes for creating machine learning models, training machine learning models. It will depend what kind of code it gives you, will depend on how precisely you are able to convey information to ChatGPT. And if at some point you counter some kind of error, you can copy that error message and feed it back to ChatGPT, and it will create the code. It will modify the code accordingly. But sometimes that will, in specifically in case of complex analyses, it will give you a number of codes which will not work. You will have to keep feeding the error message back to ChatGPT, and ultimately you will find a code that works. So you see, with ChatGPT, writing code has become very effective. But again, I must tell you, uh, it cannot fully automate, or it cannot fully do the analysis for you. You will have to exercise your judgment and some background in statistics, in coding will help. If you are, if you have some background, ChatGPT will help you a lot in improving your productivity, in improving your efficiency, and the speed with which you can work. Okay, it can even help you interpret uh, data. For example, if I feed this back to ChatGPT and ask it to interpret this output for me. Okay, how to interpret it? Now it will tell me a correlation coefficient of 0.627 between area and price variable suggests a moderate positive correlation between the two variables. Here is how you can interpret this correlation value. It will tell you how to, really interpret it. And if you have any further questions, uh, you can ask those follow-up questions. For example, the correlation coefficient of point indicate a positive relationship between area and price. This means that the area of a house increases, the price of house tends to increase as well. Okay, and now I can ask it. I can copy this. Okay, for example, I can ask it what could be the, if this value is moderate, what value would be considered strong? Also, what is the highest possible value for correlation coefficient? Now it will give me the answer to this question. In terms of interpreting the strength of correlation coefficient, here is a commonly used guideline. 0 to zero point 0.3 is weak correlation, 0.3 to zero point 0.7 is moderate, and zero point 0.7 to 1 is strong. Okay, as for the highest possible value of correlation coefficient, it is plus 1. So now I know, if I didn't know this before, it will tell me that highest possible value for correlation coefficient is 1. So you see, ChatGPT will help you, can help you in writing codes, and it can also help you in interpreting your outputs, but you will need some background knowledge. Thank you.